Hey, have you ever stopped to think about how we entertained ourselves before the internet just took over everything?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like thinking back to a time when maybe just one quarter that could buy you hours of fun, social fun, and some pretty intense competition too.
It's almost a quaint thought now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Entertainment being tied to a physical place, needing you to actually go somewhere with change in your pocket.
Exactly. And that's the world we're jumping into today. We're doing a deep dive, quarter by quarter into that golden age of video arcades.
It was such a fascinating time where it's sort of looking back at how it all happened, trying to get a handle on what made it so, well, so significant culturally.
Right.
The mission here, I guess, is to figure out why that period feels so memorable, why it still resonates beyond just, listing off game titles.
Okay, so thinking about that period, late 70s, maybe mid 80s, it feels like it was way more than just rooms full of game machines.
Mm.
What was the magic combination there?
Well, it seems to be this real convergence, right? You had new technology, microcomputers becoming more capable,
And
cheaper.
getting the games possible, basically.
Exactly. And the games industry itself was, well, it was brand new, really dynamic, trying all sorts of stuff.
Hmm.
But maybe the key thing was the place. The arcade itself, it gave people a reason to come together face to face. It wasn't just playing, it was playing together.
So not just the flashing lights and the bleeps and bloops. These places actually build communities. How did that work?
Yeah, think of them as, I don't know, early social networks, but physical ones. You'd have your regulars, right? People knew each other. They'd
Hmm.
share strategies, maybe have little rivalries going for the high score. There was this whole kind of local scene around suit and machines.
Like who gets the next game on Pac-Man?
Precisely. Or just, respect for the local champ.
Yeah,
They
right.
weren't just game rooms, they were hubs. Friendships formed. This whole culture grew up around it. And they were innovation labs, too, in a way. Developers could test ideas right there with a live audience, see what worked, what didn't.
And the look and sound of it all.
Oh, absolutely. The cabinet art, the lights, those amazing synthesized soundtracks. Each game had its own sound, its own feel. It was total sensory overload, but in a good way. Nothing else like it back then.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? A very lively scene. Now, okay, we got to talk about the games, the ones that pulled everyone in. Where did this whole arcade explosion really kick off?
Well, the game that most people point to as the real starting gun is Space Invaders back in 1978.
Space Invaders, right?
Tomohiro Nishikado created it, and it was just revolutionary. So simple, but so addictive, it really grabbed people.
It's kind of wild that one game could just, boom, ignite an entire industry like that. What was so special about it?
I think it was a few things. You had a clear goal, right? Shoot the aliens.
Well,
But they
yeah.
kept coming, faster and faster.
Yeah, that relentless march.
Exactly. It built tension, the simple graphics, black and white mostly, but really stark.
Hmm.
And that sound, the tempo increasing, it just worked.
Kept you putting coins in.
It did. And it showed everyone there was this huge appetite for interactive fun. It basically opened the floodgates for other developers.
So what came next? After the Invaders. I'm guessing a certain yellow circle.
You got it. Pac-Man landed in 1980, Toru Iwatani at Namco, and Pac-Man. Well, it wasn't just a game. It became a full-blown cultural phenomenon.
Pac-Man fever, right? That wasn't just hype, was it? People went crazy for it.
Oh, it was real. Absolutely real. Pac-Man just hit differently. Unlike the shooters, he was kind of cute, relatable.
Less threatening than aliens descending.
Maybe. And the gameplay, the maze, it was easy to grasp but hard to master. Plus, crucially, it appealed way beyond the usual gamer crowd. Lots of women started playing arcade because of Pac-Man, casual players.
Oh, okay. So it broadened the whole scene.
Massively. And then saw it everywhere. Music, TV shows, t-shirts, lunchboxes. It saturated the culture in a way no game had before.
Still incredible. And then, just a year later, 1981, enter a big ape and a little guy in overalls.
Yep, Donkey Kong. Shigeru Miyamoto's creation for Nintendo. And the big deal there, looking back, was the hero. Jumpman, they called him then.
Who became Mario.
Who became Mario, probably the most famous video game character ever. Donkey Kong really put Nintendo on the map in arcades.
And the game itself was different too, right? Not just shooting or eating dots.
Right, it had distinct levels, climbing ladders, jumping barrels, platforming. It was basically the blueprint for a whole genre that would dominate home consoles later on.
So, wow, in just, what, 3 years? Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong. They basically set the course for everything.
Pretty much laid the critical foundations, yeah.
But you were saying the experience wasn't just you versus the machine. The social part was key.
Absolutely fundamental. Arcades were gathering spots. You'd find all sorts of people there, all drawn in by these games. And that mix created this really interesting dynamic. Competition, sure, but also camaraderie.
You mean the people really gunning for the high scores? How did that work socially?
Well, getting your initials at the top of the screen was a huge deal, right? So there was rivalry. But people would also watch each other play.
Learning the pattern.
Exactly, picking up tricks. And often people would share tips. Hey, try this on the third screen. So it was competitive, but also kind of collaborative sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting.
And yeah, losing sucked, obviously. Putting your last quarter in and dying straight away.
We've all been there.
Right. But everyone understood the challenge. There was this shared passion. It was like, the ancestor of today's online leaderboards, but you were all standing right there together.
It sounds like a really unique social environment. Now, behind these amazing games, there must have been some key people driving it all.
Oh, definitely. You absolutely have to mention Nolan Bushnell, co-founder of Atari. His vision really got the whole video game industry started, paved the way for the arcade boom.
Atari was huge back then, impossible to ignore.
For sure. And then you had brilliant designers like Eugene Jarvis.
Ugh, Defender, Robotron. Those games were intense.
Weren't they just? Jarvis was really pushing the limits of the hardware. Multi-directional scrolling, tons of enemies on screen at once. Things that were just mind-blowing back then, made for incredibly frantic, demanding games.
So real innovators, not just luck. People pushing boundaries on the tech side and the creative side.
Exactly, on both fronts.
Okay, speaking of things you might not expect, I found a couple of kind of wild facts that really show the scale of this whole arcade thing.
Oh yeah, go on.
Okay, first one. You know the perfect Pac-Man score. Like clearing every board, getting every dot, every ghost, every fruit.
The legendary 3,333,360 points.
That's the one. Guess when it was officially achieved for the first time?
Mid-80s. Like peak Pac-Man fever.
Nope, 1999 by a guy named Billy Mitchell. Took nearly 20 years.
1999, wow, that's some serious dedication. Shows how those games just stuck around, didn't they? Became these enduring challenges.
Totally. Okay, fact number 2. Remember Space Invaders?
How big it was?
Oh yeah, the start of it all. Well, when it first hit Japan, it was so popular. It apparently caused a national shortage of 100 yen coins.
A coin shortage? Seriously?
Seriously. People were feeding coins into the machine so fast, the Bank of Japan had to mint more just to keep up.
That's incredible. It wasn't just a game, it was actually impacting the national economy.
Right. These stories just show it wasn't some niche hobby. It was woven into society, into daily life, even down to the money supply.
Really puts it in perspective. Wow.
But, well, like all golden ages, things change.
Oh.
What happened? Why did the traditional arcade start to fade?
Yeah, the big shift was really driven by technology moving into the home consoles, personal computers. They started getting really powerful and affordable.
So the Atari 2600, the Commodore 64, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And then later Nintendo, Sega. As those systems got better, you could get games that looked and played just as well, or sometimes even better than the arcade version.
Right. Less reason to trek down to the arcade and pump in quarters if you could play something similar on your couch.
Precisely. The convenience factor was huge. But it's important to say, even though the arcades themselves declined, their legacy is immense.
How so?
Well, think about it. So many game genres we still play today got their start, or were really refined, in the arcades.
Like platformers from Donkey Kong.
Yeah, platformers, shoot-'em-ups, evolving from Space Invaders and Defender, fighting games later on. Arcades were the testing ground. The core ideas, the gameplay loops, a lot of that was figured out on those coin-op machines.
So they basically built the foundation for, well, pretty much the whole modern games industry.
In a very real way, yes. They established the language of video games.
And it's interesting you see this kind of comeback now, right? Retro arcades, these barcades.
Yeah, there's definitely been a resurgence.
What do you think is driving that? Just nostalgia?
Nostalgia is definitely part of it for people who grew up then.
Yeah.
But I think it's also about that social experience again. In our super connected, but maybe kind of isolated digital world, there's an appeal to actually going somewhere, being with other people, sharing an experience around these physical machines. It offers something different.
Bringing back that tangible communal vibe to gaming. Makes sense.
Yeah, a different kind of connection.
So stepping back, we're looking at the whole picture.
Yeah.
What's the big takeaway from this deep dive into the arcade's golden age?
I think the key thing is just how unique and influential that whole period was. It genuinely changed popular culture, and its fingerprints are all over gaming today. It was
Really?
this moment where physical spaces turn into these buzzing electronic playgrounds, and right there in those noisy neon lit rooms, that's where the foundations of today's massive global gaming industry were really laid. It was more than just coins and slots. It was a shared cultural moment with a really long shadow.
Yeah, definitely more than just kids wasting quarters like some people thought back then.
Hmm.
There's a real phenomenon, which kind of makes you think, doesn't it, about the importance of those shared cultural experiences.
Yeah.
In today's world, with everything so online and often solitary, what are our modern arcades? Where do people gather and connect over shared passion like that, face to face? Definitely something to chew on.